Sheila. I'm just here as a citizen and live in the 46th. And my question is about right to work, which passed through the House last week, or the Senate last week and the House this week. And I was wondering why you voted the way you did, and if it was based on constituent calls. I know that a lot of people did call Senator Rowden's office against it, and you did vote for it. So I'm curious why you voted, and if there are any mechanisms in the future for to hold yourself accountable to your constituents, like publishing the numbers of people who called for or against a controversial bill.
Okay, please hold your responses. Gail, would you please respond to that? We'll
Sure.
move across this way.
Sure, yeah, we got plenty of interaction for and against. There's no question about that. So right to work for me was an issue, honestly, that, you know, in when I got elected in 2012 was not something that I was terribly familiar with. And so I did a lot of research, did a lot of my own study over the course of the first couple years. I'm not sure, I don't think we voted on it my first couple years in the House, but and I came to a couple of conclusions. You know, I think one, in my mind, it is an issue that has been over politicized on both sides. Okay, okay. I'm going to continue to talk. Okay. But here's the reality of it in my view. You know, I think there's every right to work state that has gone right to work in the modern era has done so when the union participation rate was on a downward trajectory in a pretty significant fashion. So 10 years ago, in the United States, union participation rate was about 12%. Our Missouri union participation rate was at about 12%. Since then, the federal rate has gone down by about a point. Our rate has gone down by 4 points and is continuing to slide. And so what you saw in some of the other states where that became right to work when their union participation rate was going down was that in all cases the union participation rate either plateaued or in some cases went back up. Because the reality of right to work, I think one thing that there are plenty of opposition talking points. I think one thing that it can't be rebutted is that being a right to work state puts you in conversations in some cases to attract types of businesses and industries that you are not currently a part of. And so I think there could be a scenario, and I do believe this honestly, where you can pass right to work, and what we've seen in some other states like Indiana and Michigan, where the union participation rate actually goes up, where there are more union jobs in their state because I don't have to talk. I mean, we don't.
Folks, please, let's listen to the senators. He's giving his rationale, and let's show some respect.
So, you know, so for me, it was a matter of numbers and a fair amount of research that we have done on both sides of the issue, and so that's how I make my decision. That's how I'm going to continue to make my decision.
Would anybody else like to respond to that? Senator Representative?
I would also.
Okay, Representative Basie, we'll just go down the line here. Yeah.
Well, I was proud to support right to work in 2015. I not only voted for it when it passed through the legislature in regular session, Governor Nixon vetoed it, and I voted to override it, and it failed. And this year I voted for it when the House bill passed through our chamber and the Senate bill today. I campaigned on right to work for my re-election. For some reason, it was not that big of an issue on the campaign trail. But I think it's very important to get new business into our state in the areas that drastically need jobs. The Boot Heel, for example, extremely poor part of the state, and a large majority of the people in the Boot Heel travel into adjoining states to work in jobs in states that are right to work. So anyway, it's a complex issue. I understand the passion on both sides, and I'd like to say one thing, and this is the truth. I got a lot of emails and communication from union members asking me to vote against that. I replied to them, and the communication was filled with just things that just weren't true. I replied to them. I offered to meet with these people, these individuals. I offered to go to their union shops. I offered to go to their place of business, and I never heard back from them, not one of them. And I think that's because the union leadership did not want my side of the story told at those stations. The offer's off the table now. It's going to be signed into law tomorrow by Governor Greitens, and I'm glad it's going to be. Thank you.
All right. Representative Stevens.
So yeah, I voted against it today, both the House and the Senate version that we've done.
Please call the
For me, it really is, I campaigned as a strong supporter for workers and for the middle class, and really this, it was right to work bills are about corporate interests, like plain and simple. And that I just want to throw out a number that I think is very important, because I think the passage of right to work is a perfect example of why we need real campaign finance reform in Missouri. We had one individual in Joplin, Missouri spent $15 million on elections this past cycle. $15 million because he wanted right to work. And that's pay-to-play politics, and that is not what democracy looks like. And I want to say to everyone that's out here tonight that we are getting it on the ballot in 2018, and we need people, and we're going to need bodies to get those signatures. So remember, in 2018, we need citizens participating, and so we need to call on you guys.
We'll be there. We'll be
Okay.
there.
Thank you very much, Representative Stevens. Representative Kendrick.
Yeah, I voted against right to work as well, and have consistently continued to support union our union brothers and sisters for a number of reasons. I mean, they've done so much for all of us. Keeping wages up, implementing safety standards that all of us benefit, whether we're in a union or not. Concerns about, even the usage of the phrase right to work, right? I mean, we're going to see people not paying dues but getting benefits, getting the benefits of being in the unions and having the benefits of negotiated wages and everything, but they're not going to be paying. A frustrating time since the election, frankly, when we knew that was coming down the pike, and there'll be a few more. There'll be paycheck deception, a few others. I'm going to pause time if I can for just 1 minute. There's been some pushback in the audience tonight, and I can appreciate where you're coming from. I can appreciate these issues get heated, but I also want to say, try to respect both sides of us. We're not always going to agree, but please be respectful tonight. It's going to be 8:30, 9 o'clock by the time before we're home. That'll be the earliest I've been home all week, just like these people up here with me tonight. So this is an easy job. We don't make much money. We put in a lot of hours. So if you could all just be respectful, that'd be great. Because this is whether we disagree on issues, we will, but we respect each other. And we just ask that you respect us as well. Thank you.
Very good. And Representative Rush.
I would like to ask the audience, since you all are being so interactive and reactive, how many people in this room, by raising your hand, live in my district, the 44th? All right. When I ran for office, I was upfront and honest that I would support right to work and that I was for right to work. And I did vote for right to work today, but let me also add, Speaker of the House said that we would get right to work done this year. Senate Pro Tem leader said that they would get right to work done this year, and the new governor has said he would sign right to work. This is a collective thing. It is not an individual. Not any one of us sitting up here can do it by ourselves. It is a group effort, whether it's up or down.